And now this question of what happens when I'm not living anymore in this world. You see, what happens is very simple. This is your causal body, right? This is your mental body, and this is your physical body. Each day during sleep, this is what happens. You see.
Radhe Radhe Ramuji, I understood that body, mind, and soul all come together to create one me. The outer physical body and our actions are influenced by our inner astral body, which is our mind, and our mind is in turn guided by our very subtle inner consciousness. In the waking state, all three bodies are at work. In the dream state, both the mind and our inner conscious is at work. And lastly, in the deep sleep state, only our causal body or our consciousness is at work. So Ramuji, then what happens to these three bodies when a person dies?
So when I am awake, I am in all the three bodies. I am there, I'm wearing an inner shirt, I'm wearing an outer coat also. And that is what I am when I'm awake. When I'm dreaming, my coat is in the hanger, wherever it is. And I go to sleep with just this inner shirt, I'm dreaming. When I am in the causal state, I don't have this mental body, I don't have the physical body, and I have only the causal body. You see, now it's very clear. Take this to be the causal body. Okay. And then when I am deep sleep, I only exist here. This is how Swamiji explained to all of us. You see. And then from sleep, I slowly go to the dream. The second body gets added on to me, which is my mental body, because I was not having any thoughts in my deep sleep. When I start dreaming, I have thoughts. Now I'm seeing, I'm doing, and all that. When I wake up, suddenly I exist in these three bodies, right? Okay. And that's what I said when I said that, living in the physical world with the outer coat of the physical body. And let us say there is something called an astral world or a mental world. I can't deny it because I'm dreaming about it, you see. And how do I see all that is with the body. And have you ever realized you can't choose your dreams? Can you? I can influence it. If I keep seeing some horror movies, if I really put my heart in a bhajan, etc., night also in the dream, I may get some divine dreams. So I can't control it, but I can influence it. Why? Because the dreams come because of this mental currents, which are like unresolved desires, mental currents, all that. It works out in the dream, isn't it? So there is a body which works it out, the mental body, right? Or the sukshma sariram, you see. So let me call it as astral body. And I have these two, the inner shirt of astral body, and of course, causal body is always with me. And now this question of what happens when I'm not living anymore in this world. You see, what happens is very simple. This is your causal body, right? This is your mental body, and this is your physical body. Each day during sleep, this is what happens, you see. So you have this physical body, and when I'm sleeping, I'm like this, right? And when I wake up, I go back so smoothly that I don't even realize that I was not with it when I was dreaming until you have been told by a different person. Now, there are interesting people called yogis, real yogis, you see. They have the power to actually travel and come back. They're called Siddha Purushas. You see, they can actually travel, not physically, astrally. It's called astral travel. And these yogis say there is a subtle silver rope or a silver thread which binds this physical body with the astral body, and they have to come back here because of that rope. You see, they are saying that there is a bond, very subtle bond between these two for them to come back. And that bond is decided by what is called as our karma. Until that karma is worked out with this body, this bond won't leave. So every day you have to come back to this body, you see. But when this wonderful thing called death happens, what happens is this body is left and the rope is also cut. So like a dream, I come back to this body after this 100 years, 120 years of my life, or whenever that karma gets over, this has to pass on. Which means, Chadar ho gayi bahut purani, abindra liya Kabir Das. He's also using this as a quote, chadar, you see. It has become very old. Now, the subtle body and the causal body has to find a new shirt to continue its journey. Until it realizes God, until it realizes its true self, it has to keep jumping from one coat to another. Until it is winter, you have to wear the coat. Na? You may throw an old coat and wear a new coat. What decides the new coat? That's where you need to be with me in Sanatana Dharma. This decides. The mind decides what coat it wants. Does the coat pick you or you pick the coat? You see, you pick the coat. You are feeling very happy, etc. You pick a bright color. You feel a little sad, moody, etc. You pick a. Have you ever seen the colors which you pick? Shows that generally, if you are doing an intuitive pick, it is generally done because of your mental frame there. And so here, you pick the coat, which means that mental, that state of the mind, which is the state of the astral body, because of the karma, because of the activities it did, because of the previous Janma's activity, etc. Depending on how it lived the life with this coat, when this coat is thrown out, it takes its time to find different coat which actually suits the psyche of this body. So this body decides what is the coat. If we have been given a human coat and constantly we are barking at people, you know where the next body goes, isn't it? It will go to a different body, where barking can be done more naturally. If we have lived a life which is very compassionate and dharmic, etc., and we are still not realized God, then what happens is, it takes a similar coat so that it can express its mind better in this coat. You see, it's called the expression of the mind through the body. How does this mind choose? That is the beauty. When the mind is ready, it is the divinity which actually helps the mind go and get related to that body which is waiting. How come when the mind is exactly like that, the body is also Adhanappa Bhagavan? The accident no pata ella accident da. But the moment you see the connection of causality, oh my God, Adi Shankara Bhagavad-pada says in one of his commentaries, this incredible Bhagavan who could actually map each of these backgrounds and expressions waiting to be expressed with the correct physical frame is incredible. That's how he does for millions and millions of life forms. Adudha consciousness, adudha immanent divinity in everything. That is the beauty of this grand kaise kelu racho mere data jit dekhu ut teu hi tu, says Kabir Das. Wherever I see your touch everywhere. Perfection everywhere. You see? And that is how a soul moves from one body to another body until it realizes Bhagavan, it realizes Krishna, or it realizes its own self, which are not different from each other as per our Bhagavata Sampradaya. You see? And once it realizes, it has no need for the clothes. It means the winter is over for that. I don't need any coat at all. I'm happy with just who I am. You see? So here, when this is living in a physical world, and the time has come, everybody had to go one day. When the time comes, this subtle body leaves the physical body. But then it is not used to leaving that physical body, so it stays around, which is why we do all the karma for 12 days, 13 days and all that. And then it does not know where to go. A shafor comes. Shafor, remember, it is all only subtle. Don't imagine a person, a being comes, it is guided by all these divine plan of Bhagavan to that world which it deserves to go. Don't think the moment I leave this body, another body immediately gets in. No, there is an intermediate step. For example, between sleep and waking, I have an intermediate dream state. Na? Likewise, between this body and the next body, I need to expend a little more of my pluses and minuses. There are some debts we have because we didn't follow some universal laws, etc. We need to pay that debt, and that is what is called as a not so heavenly place. You see, and then there are positive things which you did. Partially, you are rewarded. The moment this subtle body leaves this physical body, which we call death, this subtle body goes, and because of what you did, you may have to enjoy a little bit in some lokas, and for what we did wrong, we may have to pay the price for it. And then partially, and then it takes a new form. And if you are a human form, you have a chance to completely annul all this, make the debt zero. You see, and that's the spiritual capability we all have. And that's why Mahatmas are begging us to saying, don't waste this opportunity, etc. And so you get back to another body, okay? And generally, where you left, you continue, says Bhagavan Sri Krishna to Arjuna. Suppose you did the meditation and you didn't complete it. So you have Baki left, I need to come. Now you did it with the body A and you passed on. And then it goes to some good worlds because meditation is supposed to be very spiritual. You do all this and then come back. You will get a birth in a place, in a family, with a body which is suited for your meditation. Because that's the expression of what this mind is seeking to cover itself with, to finish off its expression, you see. And so you get a body. That's why some people are so naturally, right from childhood, they can sit motionless for 5 hours, 6 hours. Some people could sing naturally. And it's not an accident of some genetic makeup, etc. They are continuing from where they left. Where nobody gets anything, just Bhagavan is very fair. That's 100% true. Nobody gets anything just like that. They work for it. If not in this Janma, in the earlier Janma. It's clear. So that's how this works. What you have learned yesterday in mathematics, you go to sleep. Next day morning, you know it very well now what algebra is. Why? Because you continued what you learned in spite of a complete reset in your deep sleep. You got everything back, you see. And generally, I think it's because of the physical body alone. Na? That's where Sanatana Dharma begs to differ. Even if you leave this body, pass on and take another body, you will have the tendency embedded in your causal body. You see here, that causal body. You have that embedded there. And your mind, which is your shirt, will also have some expression of that. So we are all continuation of what we left in the last Janma. Many times you find a child is totally different from the parents. You see, how can that be explained? I mean, parents are caretakers. They have to make sure whatever best they can do for the child. But child comes with a background, and child has to take a new body. It has to work out its own destiny. And if it does not realize Bhagavan, it has to undergo Tribi. Until Bhagavan does not give up. So for many births we have been coming, and this is how we leave this body. We go. And then slowly, finally, when we realize all these bodies are gone, and I realize who I am really without all these coats on, and that truth is what I call it as consciousness. So remember this, as you live in the mental world, you have the inner shirt of this astral body, and the real me is the causal body and consciousness out here. And so when you actually let go of the inner shirt of an astral body, you then become what is called as a consciousness. And that consciousness is what is called realization. So when you are chanting this Maha Mantra, all the people are telling you, chant, do puja, etc. And when the time comes, that Nama, because it itself is consciousness, can actually make us realize it's only a quote. When the time comes, not now. When the time comes, you realize, just a quote, dance. And then our whole cycle of birth, death, etc. is stopped. It's called moksha, liberation. And then once we attain that, we attain Paramatma Swarupam also. We are trying to look at this grand picture of Sanatana Dharma, its wonderful philosophy, its take on life, and how Sanatana Dharma views life as something very precious. Don't waste it, don't fritter it away, and use it to the best possible extent. And that is a beauty. And this is the philosophy of Sanatana Dharma.